everything that you need to know about creative testing and Facebook ads. Let's dive into it. We're going to cover testing and scaling because these are fundamental skills that every Facebook marketer should know. And the honest truth is, the vast majority of people get the majority of this work dead wrong because they've been taught to value the wrong things using the improper tools by people that misunderstood how the machine worked and have a very myopic view of what success looks like. Because ultimately, people are focused on the wrong business metrics. So we're going to focus on how you can become algorithmically aligned with Facebook. So as it gets smarter, you get better. And we can scale your business instead of your ego. With that being said, let's dive into it. Everything that you need to know about creative testing and Facebook ads. Let's dive into it. We're going to cover testing and scaling because these are fundamental skills that every Facebook marketer should know. And the honest truth is, the vast majority of people get the majority of this work dead wrong because they've been taught to value the wrong things using the improper tools by people that misunderstood how the machine worked and have a very myopic view of what success looks like. Because ultimately, people are focused on the wrong business metrics. So we're going to focus on how you can become algorithmically aligned with Facebook. So as it gets smarter, you get better. And we can scale your business instead of your ego. With that being said, let's dive into it. First off, ABO and small budgets to test a lot of ads. This is horrible. When we break it down, it actually makes no sense at all. This is a super popular way of testing ads, to run a bunch of ad sets within an ABO, letting every ad get a chance and scaling the winners. Remember, this is no good. This is terrible. This is objectively the worst thing that you could do. It relies on two things that undermines how Facebook works and presents massive liabilities. Let's break those down. First, for this to work, we have to assume that we're going to be able to somehow guess exactly what creative goes with exactly what ad and exactly what copy for each individual customer against each individual audience based on what Facebook data that we're also, if you're predicating this type of control, you probably don't trust in the first place. So you're building your future on some get lucky guessing game that relies on a lot of variables. Now, maybe you try to game this so you make a bunch of versions of more or less the same ad with a lot of variations on these exact same elements. Yeah, that makes sense. Right up until you begin to put any logical thought around unit economics, data, or honestly just, I don't know, effort into it. Now, I often see accounts with 20 to 50 new ads getting launched every single week. Now, because every ad is actually its own web page, and every web page has its own life cycle with its own data. Facebook is measuring the click-through rate, the bounce rate, the stickiness. Every piece of content out there is actually a web page. Remember, the Facebook news feed is basically just Google search results, but instead of you typing in what you want to see, it guesses what you want to see and gives you a media-rich format. It's sort of like the old AOL dashboard or Yahoo portals set up like a Google search result. When we are diluting the value of our spend with respect to machine learning, we have almost no value at all of the insights. When you're making 20 to 50 ads or more, you're basically investing a very little bit in a whole lot of places that keeps the machine really, really stupid. Now, the second thing we have to get to here is most ads are going to be losers. Most ads are going to be, are not going to be winners. And that's okay. Maybe 75, 80, 90% of ads are losers. But if you spend as much money on every losing ad as you do on every winning ad, just to see which ads are any good, that means we're spending the vast majority of our budget on bad ads. Now you might say, well, that's what the cost of doing business to get to a good place, but that also means you're going to have an account-wide CPM ramification far above and beyond ROAS. If the majority of your ad spend in testing is basically spent giving the middle finger to Facebook, do you think that they're going to value your relationship with them long-term when the foundation of your business is to basically tell them to go F themselves. Lastly, we cannot declare winners off of small spends and soft metrics and a couple of sales. Things like CPC, doesn't matter. You got a great cost per click? Cool. What happens when you spend more than a few dollars on it? Oh, it doesn't hold. Who cares? Cost per click has nothing to do with actual profit margin per customer journey. You had a really great CTR. Awesome. Completely useless for Facebook, but good on you. You got 3 clicks out of 10 impressions, 30% click-through rate. I'd rather get 7 clicks out of 50 impressions for the same cost. Much worse click-through rate, twice as many customers, potentially. You have to start thinking about business in scale instead of focusing on an OCPM platform with PPC metrics. We need to do long-term trend analysis to validate consistency and provide projectable outcomes. Otherwise, it's basically just a lottery where you're putting your thumb on the scale a little bit. Using dynamic creative testing in the 3-2-2 method. Now, this is what you should be doing, and I'm seeing more and more people preach this, and thank God. It's been years that we've been pushing it, and it's starting to really come and be popular, and I cannot be happier. And there's some people that will absolutely resist dynamic creative because their ego and self-worth is built on the idea of guessing ads, and to be fair, they're probably going to be right often, but can they be right every time at scale for every customer, for every audience, on every single account, every single day? No. So even at their very best, they're ultimately going to get outdone by the machine learning that actually understands the outcome of what Facebook users are trying to see and how to align that with Facebook's business objectives on our own. The 3-2-2 method is 3 creatives, 2 headlines, 2 primary text, 1 CTA, no descriptions, auto placement. This is the proper way of testing Facebook ads. Use dynamic creative, and there are multiple reasons for this. First, DCTs, dynamic creative tests, collate all of the data from every single ad iteration into one single web page. Remember, every single ad is a web page. A dynamic creative is an adaptive web page that gives the user the best experience. It's basically like having JavaScript on your site where it changes a little bit depending on how somebody sees it. That's what a dynamic creative is. It's not making a ton of things. They're actually all held inside of one single web page. Now that web page has many iterations, but the URL of a dynamic creative is where the information is held. That's how the code is written. This isn't an opinion. That's just engineering software facts. So remember, because every ad is its own web page, and Facebook Learnings is basically how users respond to the content of that web page that you're promoting, using that data to establish future decisions, delivery, and optimizations. Why not have every single ad make every single other ad more valuable? Second, the DCTs, dynamic creative tests, let Facebook create the best user experience and algorithmically align that experience for the target market with your brand. Remember, ads do the targeting. If you're still trying to build individual ads against audiences and interest groups and data logic stuff, and maybe you're getting Shopify all this time, you're playing the guessing game at scale. You might have people. I talked to somebody yesterday that literally had somebody on their team that was just inputting data. Do you know the waste of time and effort and money that it takes to do all of that work when you don't have to do any of it? The majority of our spend, by the way, when we do dynamic creative tests, are going to go to the best ads. Remember we talked before about how when you build a bunch of ads just to find the winners, maybe 80-90% of your budget goes to losers that are harmful to your relationship with Facebook? And DCTs, it's the exact opposite. How much do you think that helps your relationship with Facebook downstream? Optimizing DCTs with the 3-2-2 method is extremely simple. If the net output is bad, turn off that DCT, or go in and find the single element by breaking down, in the breakdown sections, dynamic creative elements, the copy, the headline, the creative. What's getting all of the spend and then just not delivering good results? Where do you, maybe on purpose, maybe not, have some clickbait. Let's get rid of it. Super easy. Something's getting 80% of the spend and I'm unhappy with the output. Remove that thing. Boom. I see so many people say, well, Facebook's just spending all the money in a CBO and dynamic creatives on the stuff that doesn't work. So remove it. It's simple. You're not a victim. Just take out the bad employee. The quality of everybody else gets better. And if the results are good, then we have extreme confidence on what elements present the highest contribution to that outcome. And we can extract it, isolate it, and then move on to the next test. Let's focus on how ad targeting works and how Facebook uses data. Every single Facebook ad is itself a web page within Facebook's website, and additionally in their Instagram platform, etc. And Facebook is measuring all of the soft metrics of how people engage with that content to see who else to show that content to. If we show an ad to 1,000 people and 500 people like it and 500 people don't, who do you think that ad's going to be shown to with the next 1,000 impressions? Do you think it's a completely random assortment? Or do you think Facebook, in their infinite wisdom to protect their business model of giving people a positive user experience, is going to show that content to people that look more like those that liked it? Every ad makes its own lookalike audience. That's just a fact. Now, the optimized CPM environment uses this data to make sure that people see the content they are most likely to respond positively to, right? Remember, it's a fact. The ads do the targeting. Audiences don't. Audiences actually haven't done targeting for like 5 or 6 years now. It's around 2017, 2018 when that shift was really starting to happen. The idea of an audience is I have completely random distribution among these users, and so I have to focus where that random distribution goes to make sure Facebook doesn't waste too much of my money. Do you think Facebook wants to waste your money? Do you think it'd be successful for their business to basically just exploit everybody and waste everybody's money? No. They didn't become the world's greatest ad platform by being bad at serving ads to people. Ads that create positive user experiences see more efficient results. Every ad makes its own lookalike audience. Stop using audiences.